Hello, thank you again for tuning in to the Diaspora Panel. This is the Diaspora Panel, the voice of the diaspora, where we discuss Nigerian politics and international politics. I have with me today, as always, Mr. Olaitan Adedigba, who is based in the United States of America. Mr. Olaitan Adedigba, you are welcome.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here this evening.
I also have Mr. Ola Lawal, who is based in Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are also welcome.
Thank you for having me.
My name is Dejola, and I'm based in the Republic of Ireland. Today, we are going to discuss one of the important issues that has been trending this week. Before I tell you what we'll be discussing, if you are one of our viewers, or if you are watching this and you have not yet subscribed, please click on that subscription button. It is free of charge. It means that anytime we do the next video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. And if you have any information that you want to pass across to us, or if you want to give us any advice, or if you want to make any comment, or if you want to say anything to us, you can send an email to info@diasporapanel.com. So today, we're going to be discussing the issue of godfatherism in Nigerian politics. In the last 1 week thereabout, we've seen the issue between the current Minister of FCT Abuja, Mr. Nyesom Wike, and the current governor of his home state, Rivers State, Mr. Fubara. Now, Mr. Fubara has been in power for only 6 months, and he got into power on foot of the support of Mr. Wike, who was his godfather. And this is a deja vu. We've seen this happen in many places. In Lagos, for example, about 4 years ago, we saw Ambode, how he was, not allowed to be a second term. We saw what happened in Kano between Kwankwaso and his godson, political godson. That's the current APC chairman, who is also the former governor of Kano, Ganduje. We saw what happened in Cross River State between, current Senate president, what's his name now? The current president, and his godson, who is Governor Udom in Cross River. And so many cases like that has happened. So now Governor Wike is no longer former Governor Wike is no longer in the government house in River State. But he still want to be controlling the shots. From what I understand, he's the one who has, nominated all the commissioners. He's the one who has nominated the chief of staff for the current governor. He wants to tell the governor who he can associate with, who he can socialize with, how much he can spend. And somebody even said on social media that the governor is demanding for 25% of every allocation that is given to the state every month. So is this a kind of, because there are a lot of governors in Nigeria who are still doing the same. Let me go over to you first, Lighton. First of all, what is your take on what is going on between Wike and the governor of his state?
Yeah, the issue of godfatherism started since our independence, right? When our nationalist leaders, they will be asking people to, you occupy this place, you do this, you did it. But eventually, it metamorphosed into making money. Seen as a source of making the wealth of the nation, whereby you impose governor. Look at what happened during Senator Rashidi Ladoja in Ibadan. Yeah, and in Anambra, Ngige and this guy. So it has been on and on in Nigeria. But thank God, I think it's visually down little by little. And recently in Wike, I overheard Governor Wike saying, ex-Governor Wike saying he paid for all the legislators, the House of Representatives, senators,
all the contestants.
All the contestants. And government money, for that matter. You are dipping your hand into government money to pay for all the candidates, all the contestants in your state. And effortlessly, he was saying it outside. He was saying it. So the godfatherism in Nigeria, I think, is killing the politics in Nigeria. And the better people, it's only in Lagos, I must say, it's only in Lagos. I'm not for correction. It's only in Lagos that is you pick the right people, right peg in the, you put the round peg in the right hole. I mean round hole in the round peg. So like the way Tinubu fish out Fashola. I mean, he said so. Fashola try the best. Ambode too tried the best. So likewise, all these people. So they have a game plan, but you don't want some states, they just want to be living fat on those people they impose on the citizens. So they want to be collecting half of money they are sharing, half of the like Ibadan. I mean, like what caused Governor Ladoja and Baba Adetibu's pro was Ladoja was not bringing in enough money, and he imposed Ladoja. The same thing goes for Akala. He imposed Akala to the extent that Godfather was chasing Uba was chasing governor, the city governor. He was chasing him all around. He wanted to keep him with connivance with the commissioner of police there. You know, he's ridiculous, and we are making mockery of politics in Nigeria. That is my take.
Thank you, Laito. Chupo, question I want to ask you is: should there be godfatherism in the first place? And if there's going to be godfatherism, what extent? Because this looks to me like a kind of state capture.
Well, I think this is the unfortunate reality of what democracy in Nigeria has come to. And I think if we take cues from what ex-Governor Wike said, he alluded to, I think, what I would say would be one side of it, which is that, everybody wants to maintain, so to speak, political relevance. So, in order for him to maintain relevance in Rivers State, whatever that means, he has to inject himself into every, decision-making for the state so that he remains relevant in Rivers politics. I would say that is probably one side of it. I think, honestly, the other side of it is a lot of these governors, while they were in office, have done things that potentially may be criminal, and they've enjoyed immunity, while being in those positions. And now, when they are no longer there, they are potentially liable. I mean, they could be prosecuted for some of the things that they've done. The only way to stay out of jail is to ensure that whoever takes over the helm of affairs does not open the books to find out what may have happened.
Their interest.
I think that actually is the bigger reason why they are trying to maintain their political relevance, not really because of anything else, is to be able to cover their tracks. I think this also points out that in many of the states, there is no viable opposition, or let me say no active opposition, because when there is a ruling party, the official job of the opposition is to hold the ruling party accountable. How are they spending money? I mean, if Wike, for example, is demanding and probably has been receiving up to 25% of the state's allocation, why is the opposition party not crying foul? Why is it that nobody has actually raised any alarms since Fubara has been sworn in to indicate that state funds may have been used in ways that actually is illegitimate? So it points out that even at the state level, the opposition parties are not doing their real job of holding elected officials accountable. And we're not practicing democracy to its full account, if I may say. I think a lot of these things ought to be investigated. The reason why, new people are elected, or why a governor has only 2 terms, is to be able to give other people an opportunity, to bring new ideas and, bring new policies that may benefit the state. If by pseudo arrangement, it's still the same old person still playing his hands, then the state is going to be in the grip of potentially corrupt officials for decades. Right. That is not something that will help any of our states, to be able to progress, and for new and fresh people to come in with new and fresh ideas.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lighton. On the political side, what Wike is saying is that I don't want you to touch the what's it called now? The political infrastructure, structure in the state. And as we know that Wike delivered that state to the president, to the current president during the last election, the current president would like to see that structure maintained so that he could deliver to him again in 2027 if he's contesting again. So what is this political structure they are talking about? Can you, enlighten us? Since, you are a politician yourself.
Yeah, the structure, the apasa structure they are maintaining is those people they impose there. They don't want them to change the narratives. They want everything to remain, the status quo to be maintained. Like in Osun, Aregbesola asked all the schools in Osun to be using one uniform. He changed all the schools in Osun to one uniform. All the rules he did. So the schools, he changed everything. Like, and the ex-Wike governor came. He changed all these things. It doesn't want it. Right? It's not sustainable.
That's Oyetola changed it.
Yeah, Oyetola changed it. So when you discover that it might mean something better for you, but to the generality of the people, right? It might mean something else to them, right? But all these civilians, they want to be gods on their own ways. They don't want anything to change. They don't want anything. What can benefit them? The more it benefits them, they don't want anything to tamper with it. So they want it to continue like that. So that is but the governor too, the governor in Rivers State, right? It should be, we should not pity him too much. He knows that you are eating, somebody who wants to come, somebody who wants to eat with them must have a long spoon, right? But somebody imposed you. He imposed you, for God's sake. He did everything possible for you to make sure that you emerge as the governor, and he supported you. So there's no way he will not. There's no way he will not want to be controlling you. That is it. It's like we normally say when there is primary school that he will dictate the paper, he will bring the paper dictate to. He will bring the paper dictate to. So for God's sake, Wike has did a lot for that Rivers State, made the PDP there. So for you now to come around and no, for God's sake, it's like Rashidi Ladoja. Doesn't want to go the line of Baba Adedibu. So it's normal. They are the selfish ends, their own selfish end, their own selfish interest. That is what they don't want you to be. They don't want. But Nigeria, it is only when the electorate they realize this fact, they don't follow them dogmatically. For God's sake, they are ruining the future of our people here.
Okay.
Right? Nobody has the interest of the people at the back of their mind, but their own interest.
Okay. Thank you, Lighton. Shupal, on the political side again, if the situation between Wike and Fubara degenerates and it becomes like you have in Kano, where Kwankwaso and what's the name of the APC chairman now? Ganduje. They no longer see eye to eye. They became bitter enemies. And then it was, they became, competitors. So if it becomes like that, what do you think is likely to happen to Rivers State by 2023?
Well, as they always say, when two elephants are fighting, who suffers? It's the grass. Unfortunately, when the relationship between leaders deteriorates in publicly in this manner, what happens is it's the people eventually that will suffer. The children, for example, that are supposed to receive education. The population is supposed to receive good health care. They're supposed to benefit from good infrastructure. All of these things will suffer, as we've seen just within the last couple of weeks. With the State House of Assembly being burnt, which means it has to be rebuilt. Nobody held accountable for what So, unfortunately, it is the people that will suffer, and it shows that our elected officials are not matured to a level where they can still carry on the people's business, irrespective of whatever differences they may have. I mean, politics is reasonable grounds for people to disagree on policies, to disagree on how programs are supposed to be executed, to disagree on a lot of things. But nevertheless, it does not mean that because there are differences, the whole state infrastructure should then be paralyzed. This is something that elected officials in Nigeria need to mature to that level. I don't see any reason, for example, why Wike should still be using the state's, airline or the state's when you're no longer governor. I mean, certain things should be apparent. If you are not governor, you should not be using that infrastructure. I mean, we shouldn't need to argue about that. Those are things that you should concede, to the current governor, because of his role. So suddenly he can't travel because of what? I mean, why should an entire state's interest be held ransom to your own decision making? It's just really wrong. It's selfish, and it's quite frankly grossly arrogant. I mean, and we should be able to. These things should not even be discussing them. So I think there's, to answer your question, it is the people that will suffer. And people in Rivers State should rise up and actually challenge their elected officials to ensure that these things are not happening. I mean, if there is no grounds for impeachment, there should be no impeachment proceedings in the State House of Assembly. It's as simple as that. Yeah. If Fubara has committed any crimes, let them bring it, to the House, let it be debated, and let the full course of law be taken. But if he hasn't, people should hold their elected officials accountable. And how do you do that? You call your elected official, you let them know, you write them letters, you do all of those things. And if they are not conducting the affairs of their constituencies in a manner that their constituencies require, they should be removed.
Okay,
send letters out, gather signatures, let them know that they are there to do the people's business, not to do the bidding of the ex-governor.
Thank you, Shukro. Lighton, we know that currently Governor Wike is still a member of PDP. Even though it's working in an APC government, he has not decamped yet to APC. And the reasons are very obvious. We know that in Rivers State has always been a PDP state, okay, which delivered to the APC in the last election, 2023 election. Now, in the structure of APC in Rivers State has people like the former transport minister, Rotimi Amechi, and his group, living that structure. And we know that Amechi and Wike, they don't see eye to eye. So that's possibly the reason why it will be very difficult for Wike, to decamp to APC. So, because if we are looking at the next election, let's assume this is not going to go down well. Fubara and Wike are going to go their different, because I don't see how this is going to end up without a fight. Because you have somebody who is used to the arrogance of power and who wants to continue to maintain that power. And you have somebody who actually is in power, who wants to exert himself. I don't see how this is going to end up without them, falling apart. So now, if Wike and Fubara, if they fall apart, we know that Wike already has a problem in PDP because of what happened in the last election, how he didn't support their presidential candidate. So they are waiting for him there. So now, if Wike is going to the APC, Amechi is there. So if you look at all those permutations, how do you think this will end up for Wike?
Nigeria, for what we are, to start with the issue of Wike. Wike doesn't want to be dictated to. It doesn't want to be. It doesn't want to be. Toy with or toss around like a football. And it wants to be imposing his thought on the governors too. So you should let the governor have his sincerity, right? He should be able to behave. He should be able to think. He should be able to do stuff without consulting you, right? That is, you've given him, you helped him to a larger extent to become the governor of that state, right? You should, for God's sake, leave him to become, to exercise his civic duties, right? So it's wrong for you to be saying, for example, he's using the state private jet. We can see using the state private jet. For what? It's wrong. You are no more the governor. Even for that, the state assembly, they should call him to order. But who are the state assembly? Those people he collected the ticket, he gave them the ticket, and he bought them the what's it called, for electoral form for them to contest. So you see how he pocketed the whole state. These are the areas the electorate in Nigeria should look at. Anybody that is they want to gag, they want to emasculate their thoughts, their feelings. They should not vote for them. And electoral commission in Nigeria should make sure that they deflate all these politicians towards doing that. All the money they accumulate, they should not be allowed to use it. Once they don't influence people with money, they will not vote for them. The people are reasonable; they know what is going on, right? It's wrong for you to be in Abuja and also be controlling the state again. So you should just, for God's sake, you should just allow the apparatus of government to work like that, right? And give them the necessary support you need to give them. You feel posting, no doubt about it. The credits go to you, right? But let them work. You can play advisory role as a godfather. Not that you be imposing your thought. You want to be sharing state assets with the governor. You want to be doing stuff. No, it's wrong. You don't do that.
Okay, like for sake of our time. Shupo, eventually, do you see Wike decamping at the end of the day to the APC, or do you see him still being in the PDP and fighting it out with the governor? And if he does want to fight out with the governor, how successful will he be?
I personally think Wike is in a precarious situation because he has invested so much in the PDP that I don't see him going to the APC. I mean, going to the APC would be like pseudo starting from
scratch.
From scratch. And he's no longer governor. He obviously doesn't have that much state resources that he can use. So personally, I don't see him leaving the PDP. Nevertheless, he did deliver APC. He did deliver Rivers to APC in this election. I suspect that his fight for relevance, as he said in his own words, is to ensure that he is still in a position to deliver Rivers for APC in the next, presidential election. I mean, because if you think about it, the current governor of Rivers State is in the APC. What stops?
It's the PDP.
So sorry, is in the PDP. But what stops President Tinubu in making inroads to the new governor, not Wike any longer, to make sure that he wins the presidential election in Rivers in the next term. So really, that's what I believe is at stake. When he says he wants to maintain political relevance, it's a very strongly coded word. It means he wants to be the person that potentially Tinubu will come back to deliver Rivers State in the next elections. That's a lot. That means influence. That means he can negotiate. That means he can do a lot of things, which as governor, he can no longer do because he's no longer the governor. So that is what really is at stake. I don't see him going into the APC, because if it does, then it will have a Mechi to contend with. So I don't know what the options are for him, but I think, again, the problem with the political elite in Nigeria is that there is no vision for them beyond politics. In most Western societies, we see people leave politics for private life. They run businesses, they run non-governmental organizations, they run think tanks. Our own political elites are not at that level. They have to remain relevant in politics in one way or the other till their death, because there is really nothing for them to do. We saw, for example, the former vice president of the US, I think during George Bush's time, when he left the administration.
Is it Dick Cheney?
Dick Cheney, he went and became the chairman of Halliburton. I mean, how many of our political elites can do that? I mean, very little, if not any. So this is why there will continue to be problems, for incoming young, fresh politicians who have new ideas and new ways in which they want to do things. Okay. It's a problem, and I think it's something that they need to begin to look into.
Thank you, Shubara. Time is fast gone. So, Lighter, I want you in just 1 minute to give your social welfare recommendation. If you are to advise our president now, he has a lot at stake in this matter, because Rivers State is a very, very important state that will deliver a killer blow in 2027. So he needs Rivers State. And now he used to have Wike in that will deliver the Rivers State. We will now have Wike, we will now have Fubara. What should the president be doing? What does he need to do to keep Rivers State?
Can do, right, to make sure he settle the brawl among them in an amicable way. But Wike has forgotten that he's no more the governor. He did everything he did because he was a governor. People supported him because they see him at the end of affairs. But since he left, so he cannot amass a lot of influence he did when he was at the governor. So he should make sure that they settle this thing amicably with the governor, the Fubara, and all the game changers there. So that is the only thing the president can do. And once they do that, for God's sake, Rivers State is in their hand. Don't forget Kano State too. So they should make sure that they win Kano, Lagos, Kano, and Rivers State. So come 2027, right?
Thank you. Thank you, Light and Shubara. So what is your advice for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu if he wants to retain Rivers State as on his column in 2027?
I have only one advice. The advice I would give him, not only for Rivers State, but for any state in the Federation, is to execute programs that will alleviate poverty, that will create opportunities, and that will create a better life for all Nigerians. If he does that, he doesn't need to worry about any government. Nigerians will support him.
Right. Yeah, I think I agree with you, and I agree with you too, Lighter. So we come to the end of today's deliberation. So I want to thank you so much, Mr. Olalawal, all the way from Canada. Thank you for coming to today's meeting.
Thank you for having me.
And my very good friend, Mr. Olaitan Adedigba, thank you again for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
For all our viewers, thank you for tuning in. And please, please, please hit that subscription button. It's there free of charge. It means when we do the next video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. If you have any information you want to give to us, please send your email to info@diasporapanel.com. God bless you. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye.